relationship of being a child and having parents, although he's the father of everyone. But in relationship, he has some devotees who have relationships as they're his fathers, and he is a little child, and it's a wonderful exchange. And then there's the conjugal relationship, which we also see in this world here. Husband and wife have conjugal relationship, man, woman, and that comes actually in two forms. There is the formal, legal, proper relationship, husband and wife, and then there is illegal, illicit relationships, secret lovers, and so on. And that comes in two. And Krishna experiences that kind of love also. So there are 5 relationships like that. So Krishna is never alone. That's that is really when it comes to it. And Krishna means ultimately he lives for the exchange of love. Why is he not just? He's completely satisfied. God is satisfied in himself. Still, he also finds newer and newer enjoyment in relationships. And that's actually, you can say, why do we exist? Any of us? What is the purpose? When we understand we are eternal souls and so on, why do we exist? Well, we exist because Krishna likes that there are many he can have relationships to. Bahu Sham, he likes to be many. And therefore, everyone exists. And everyone can get complete fulfillment by establishing their loving relationship with Krishna. This is actually what this Krishna consciousness movement is about, to awaken everyone's original, natural, loving relationship to Krishna. It's possible. It's actually within us. It says Nitya Sita Krishna Prema Sadhakapanoi Shravanata Sudachita Koreodai, that Krishna Prema, which means love for Krishna, is a Nitya Sita, means eternal perfection. And it is not something that one has to artificially cultivate. It's actually there within us. Some things we have to cultivate artificially. It's not there naturally, such as to be an IT technologist, for example. Are there any IT specialists here? Jai. So it's not natural. I mean, but you had to go to university and you had to study and become, an engineer of some kind and like that. It's not something that is brought out from within. It wasn't there. So it is, Prabhupada said, an external imposition on the mind was how he expressed it. But love for Krishna is there within. Now it's simply covered. It has to be uncovered and brought out. And then, and that can be done by Sravanadi Sudachita Koreodai, by hearing about Krishna and Krishna conscious and discussions, topics about Krishna and related to that. And then the consciousness will be purified and our original nature will come out. This is actually what this whole process of devotional service is all about. So therefore, we are the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, and our aim is to develop our love of Godhead. That is what it's all about. And Krishna is never alone. And whatever we hear, all talks about Krishna are about this exchange of love. Today is the appearance day of Vāmana Day, also the other form of the Lord. That's also an example of loving relationships. Especially, Krishna has love with Indra, Vāmana, he has love for Indra, and he has also love for Bali Mahārāja. And does everyone know the līlā of Vāmana Bali Mahārāja? Who doesn't know? So anyway, it is, just to be brief, it's the Leela where the great demon king Bali Mahārāja conquered the heavenly kingdom from the king of heaven, Indra, which is improper. And so the Lord Vishnu, who's just one aspect of Krishna, he incarnated as a small dwarf. And he came to Bali Mahārāja, who had conquered the kingdom, and asked from him, can I just have 3 steps of land? He's a dwarf, so his steps are very small. I just want 3 steps of land. And Bali, of course, said, you can have much more. But Bali said, no. Vāmana said, no. If you're not satisfied with 3 steps, you'll not be satisfied if you get the whole universe. You have to learn to be satisfied. So then, of course, the Leela continues, and Bali, he grants it, and then Vāmana, in front of Bali Mahārāja, he expands. And suddenly he is, from being a dwarf, he just grows in front of his eyes, and he's huge, and he takes 1 step, and he covers the whole earthly sphere. Next step, he covers the universe and pokes his foot through the covering of the universe. And then he says to Bali Mahārāja, where shall I put my next step? There's nothing left. and then Bali Mahārāja said, put it here. Put it on my head. Because he had given the whole universe and all possessions, but he still had himself. So I'll give myself also to you. So, and I mean, it's a long Leela, but that's kind of the essence. And that's also loving relationship. And actually, there's most love between Vāmana and Bali Mahārāja. There's a deep loving exchange there. So all we hear is actually about loving relationship in many, many forms and so on. And they are all completely transcendental, completely spiritual. You cannot say one is higher or lower. They're all perfect. And there's not... But then again, the most intense loving exchanges are exhibited when Krishna, he came here 5,000 years ago in what appears to be the village of Vṛndāvana, and we will sing Jai Radha is a song from Vṛndāvana. But it's actually you can say a replica or an embassy of the highest sphere of the spiritual world, where the greatest loving exchanges are taking place. And of all the great loving exchanges, the deepest loving exchanges are exchanged between Radha and Krishna, and this is why we're celebrating Radha. But again, you cannot talk about higher and lower in that sense. But then again, we talk about higher and lower, that this is the highest. So, yeah. I want to quickly here. Prabhupada speaks on the song Jai Radha Madhava in a lecture in New York in 1971. Yeah, July 20th, 1971, Prabhupada spoke there. So they were singing Jai Radha Madhava. So Prabhupada says here, so this is the original nature of Krishna. Original nature of Krishna. He's Radha Madhava. He's a lover of Srimati Radharani and Kunja Bihari, always enjoying the company of the gopis within the bushes of Vṛndāvana forest. Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. So he's not only lover of Radharani, but Bradyadana Vallabha, the whole residents of Vṛndāvana, they love Krishna. They do not know anything else. They do not know whether Krishna is God or not. Neither they are very much harassed that I shall love Krishna if he is God. He may be God or he may be whatever he is. It doesn't matter. But we love God. Krishna, that's all. That's called unalloyed love. I guess that's already there. We can see distinguishes where we are at. We somewhere, okay, we read the scriptures and yeah, okay, looks like Krishna is God. Okay, so I'll try to worship him because he's God. But here in Vṛndāvana it's completely around. We don't care if he's God. He's probably God, but it doesn't matter. He's Krishna. We love him. That's all. And if someone else is God, who cares? We love Krishna. So that's... if Krishna is God, then I shall love him. This is conditional love. This is not pure love. Krishna may be God or whatever he may be, but by his wonderful acts, the Brajavasi, they are thinking, oh, Krishna, he is a very wonderful child. Maybe some demigod. Because people are generally under the impression that the demigods are all powerful. They are powerful within this material world. But they do not know that Krishna is above all of them. Isvara Parama Krishna Satchinananda Vigraha. The highest demigod Brahma is giving his opinion. The supreme controller is Krishna. So as a residents of Vṛndāvana, they love Krishna without any condition. Similarly, Krishna also loves them without any condition. Brajajana Vallabha Giri Varadari. When the inhabitants of Vṛndāvana were in danger because they stopped Indra Yajna, and Indra became very angry, and he sent very great, powerful cloud and rain over Vṛndāvana incessantly for 7 days. So when the inhabitants became very much disturbed, Krishna, although he was only a 7-year-old boy, he saved them by lifting the Govardhan hill. So he taught Indradev, demigod, that to stop your disturbance is the business of my little finger, that's all. And we were, of course, in 1 month or month and a half, we're going to celebrate the Govardhan hill, so there we'll talk more about that. So as Gopijana Vallabha, his only business is how to protect Gopijana. So our Krishna consciousness movement is how to become one of the Gopijana. Then Krishna will save us from any danger, even by lifting a hill or mountain. Krishna is so kind and so powerful. When Krishna lifted the hill, he did not practice some yoga system. That is God. Although he was a child, he was playing like a child, he was dealing like a child, but when there was need, he was manifesting as God. That is Krishna. That is Krishna. Not that he has to go and practice some yoga system. Then he becomes God. No, he's not that type of God, not manufactured God. He's God. And of course, Prabhupada is talking somewhat very sarcastically, but also maybe addressing a major philosophical idea. But also, especially back then in the 60s, 70s, there were gurus, so-called gurus, who would come from India and say, "Here, I'll give you a mantra, and it costs so many dollars, and then you meditate 15 minutes every day for half a year, and you'll realize you're God, and you'll become God." So Prabhupada was just, this is basically a farce. And Prabhupada said that Krishna is not that kind of God. When he was 2 weeks old or something like that, tiny child, he killed the demon Putana. He was, without changing his form as a little child. But, all the powers of God were there with him all the time because he's eternally God. So all activities of Krishna is with his devotees. Therefore, to become associate of Krishna, to develop Krishna consciousness, Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Vallabha Brajajana Ranjana, his only business is how to satisfy. As Brajajana's business is how to satisfy Krishna, similarly Krishna's business is how to satisfy Brajajana. This is reciprocation of love. Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is wandering on the banks of Yamuna to please the gopis, the cowherd boys, the birds, the beasts, calves. They are not ordinary birds, beasts, calves, or men. They are on the top of self-realization. Krita Punya Punya. After many, many lives, they got that position to play with Krishna. So our Krishna consciousness movement is so nice that everyone can go to Krishna Loka and become his associate, as a friend, or so many other things, as a servant, as father, as mother. And Krishna is agreeable to any of these propositions. These things are described very nicely in our teachings of Lord Chaitanya. So Krishna does not go even a step from Vṛndāvana. The original Krishna is in Vṛndāvana. And continues, but I'm going to stop here. Because next I want to read Bhagavad-gītā 15.1. because we should always read from Bhagavad-gītā. We're never beyond that. So, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Śrī Bhagavan Uvacha. Utva Mūlamada Shakham. Asvatam Prahu Avyayam. Chandangsi Yashapanani. Yastam Veda Saveda Vit. So I'm just going to read first a translation and then some of the purport. The Supreme Personality, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, it is said that there is an imperishable banyan tree that has its roots upward and its branches down, and whose leaves are the Vedic hymns. One who knows this tree is a knower of the Vedas. And in the purport, I'm going to go to, 4th paragraph. It starts with now, there's no ready. Yeah. So I'm going to, maybe someone can find a bucket of water or something, and throw it. Something. And yeah, actually, I'll turn off my phone also. Forgot. Sorry. Now, there's no ready experience in this world of a tree situated with its branches down and its roots upward, but there is such a thing. That tree can be found beside a reservoir of water. We can see that the trees on the bank reflect upon the water with the branches down and roots up. In other words, the tree of this material world is only a reflection of the real tree of the spiritual world. This reflection of the spiritual world is situated on desire, just as a tree's reflection is situated on water. Desire is the cause of things being situated in this reflected material light. One who wants to get out of this material existence must know this tree thoroughly through analytical study. Then he can cut off his relationship with it. This verse, it might seem a little, what does he actually mean? But it's a description of this material world. Krishna talks about this material world. And he says this world is a reflection of the spiritual world. This is actually what he's saying. It's this material world can be compared to a great banyan tree. Banyan tree is one tree is actually not just like a tree. It can be a whole jungle. And you can get lost within just one jungle of one banyan tree and not find your way out. So this is our situation. We've lost got lost in this world. In this entanglement of this banyan tree of the material world. And Krishna says it is a tree that has its roots upwards and branches down because it is a reflection. It's not a real tree. It looks like there are fruits to pick and enjoy, but when you pick them, they're not there. There's no happiness here, isn't it? We try to, that happiness there, this red fruit, but it's not there. But still, it has a reality. Reflection is not completely unreal, and it indicates that there is an actual real tree with real fruits you can really enjoy. And that tree is the spiritual world. So this is important, this understanding given there. Two things are important. One point is that whatever we find here is actually there also. So here we have persons and personal relationships and activities and so on. It's all there in the spiritual world. But another point is that what is top there becomes bottom here. That's very important to understand, because we can see that the relationships found in this world, I mean, they are there in the spiritual world between Krishna and Krishna's devotees. But what we consider high is not very high there, and what is the lowest here apparently is the highest. No, that's is that way to put it. That which mostly resembles what is lowest here, at superficial glance, it appears that is in the spiritual world, and that is the highest. And that did that make sense? That sentence? So I mean, yeah, and that's why it's a very delicate topic to talk about the highest form of love in the spiritual world, that which is exchanged between Krishna and Radha and all the young girls of Vṛndāvana. Because it looks like, seemingly like this is just some romantic dealings between young boys and girls, secret romances that they're not supposed to, you're not supposed to have these. And it's true, in this world we're not supposed to have secret relationships and romances with members of the opposite sex. This is, it is condemned. It's and so on. But it looks like that the relationship that Krishna has with his highest devotees looks like it's something like that. But it couldn't be further away. That is the top, and this is the bottom. And therefore, it's very hard to actually discuss it in a proper, in an audience. And even in one sense, it shouldn't really be discussed in audiences like that also, except with a great warning that actually, even though it looks like it is relationships between young girls, romantic, secret, cheating on the girls, fathers and mothers cheating on their husbands. These girls are all married. Girls in India used to be married very young, even 7, 8, 10 years old girls were married. So they were all married, and they were cheating on their husbands to be with Krishna. And then that can lead to two misunderstandings. One is that it's actually morally Krishna's relationship with these girls is morally condemnable, and we find that there are those who would say, actually, I'm not really a devotee of Krishna because he's not moral. I'm a devotee of Ram. And of course, it's wonderful. We are also devotees of Ram. But that is a misunderstanding. Krishna is not actually, ultimately, everything belongs to Krishna. There was one man in a lecture. Prabhupada was giving a lecture. And then one man put up his hand during the question time and said, it's actually, your Krishna is immoral, Prabhupada said. No, the guest said. And Prabhupada immediately shot back, no, you are immoral. All women belong to Krishna. The man thought he was a very moral man. He was a married man, been married with his wife for many years, faithful and like that. So she thought, I'm very moral. Prabhupada said, no, you're not moral. You are thinking Krishna's woman is your woman. All women belongs to Krishna. So actually Krishna is just associating with what already belongs to him. And we all belong to Krishna. And it's not there's nothing immoral about it at all. And another misunderstanding is, yes, Krishna can do that. So also my relationship to young girls or women thinking to other men is like Krishna. Krishna can do, and I'm also like that. So I can also do. So these two misunderstandings, we have to be beyond that to understand what is being talked about. And actually, these relationships are as different as day and night, Or as, and I'm going to read, were you able to find Adi Lila 464? Oh no, okay. Fourth Adi Lila, 4th chapter, text 164. Otherwise, I'm just going to read it from here. Yeah. So, because no, it's 146. 64. Oh. Okay, it's almost there. So, yeah, it's. So I'll start with. I'll read the Bengali, then wait. 164. It was 146, and it should be 164. Yeah. Kama prema donha kada vipina lakshana lauha ada hemayaita svarupe vilakshana. Yeah. So anyway, I'll read translation and we wait for it. It says, lust and love have different characteristics, just as iron and gold have different natures. And Prabhupada writes a short purport. Yeah, exactly. Once you try to discriminate between sexual love and pure love, for they belong to different categories with a gulf of difference between them, they are as different from one another as iron is from gold. And I'm gonna. Can you easily get to the next also? Because so this is why these exchanges between Krishna's highest devotees, include especially Radharani, it has been confused with sexual love as found in this world, and therefore it's been pointed out. They are as different as day and night, or as iron and gold. Iron is basically worthless. Gold is very, very valuable. Next verse here says, Atmendriya prita banchitare bali kama Krishnendriya priti ichya dare prema nama. The desire to gratify one's own senses is calm, but the desire to please the senses of Lord Krishna is prema, or love. And Prabhupada writes, the revealed scriptures describe pure love as follows. Sarvata dvamsarahi tam satchapi dvamsankarane yat bhava bandhanam yuno sa prema parikirtitaha. If there's ample reason for the dissolution of a conjugal relationship, and yet such a dissolution does not take place, such a relationship of intimate love is called pure. The predominant gopis, or the cowherd girls of Vṛndāvana, were bound to Krishna in such pure love. For them there was no question of sexual love based on sense gratification. Their only engagement in life was to see Krishna happy in all respects, regardless of their own personal interests. They dedicated their souls only for the satisfaction of the personality of Godhead, Śrī Krishna. That there was not the slightest tinge of sexual love between the gopis and Krishna. The author of Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta asserts with authority that sexual love is a matter of personal sense enjoyment. All the regulative principles in the Vedas pertaining to desires for popularity, fatherhood, wealth, and so on are different phases of sense gratification. Acts of sense gratification may be performed under the cover of public welfare, nationalism, religion, altruism, ethical codes, biblical codes, health directives, fruits of action, bashfulness, tolerance, personal comfort, liberation from material bondage, progress, family affection, or fear of social ostracism. or legal punishment, but all these categories are different subdivisions of one substance, sense gratification. All such good acts are performed basically for one's own sense gratification, for no one can sacrifice his personal interest while discharging these much advertised moral and religious principles. But above all this is a transcendental state in which one feels himself to be an eternal servitor of Krishna, the absolute personality of Godhead. All acts performed in this sense of servitude are called pure love of God because they are performed for the absolute sense gratification of Sri Krishna. However, any act performed for the purpose of enjoying its fruits or results is an act of sense gratification. Such actions are visible sometimes in gross and sometimes in subtle forms. So it's hard to say it better than that. What is the difference between love and lust? And therefore, even when it's described how Krishna's devotees, the girls of Vṛndāvana, Krishna's greatest devotees, they seemingly act like other girls. They decorate themselves very wonderfully fantastic. They put on cosmetics and ornaments and the finest saris and so on. But there's nothing for their own sense gratification. They simply dress like that because they know Krishna will be happy to see me like that. This is Krishna's body, they're thinking. And this body should look nice for Krishna, or it should look in a way that pleases Krishna, but they're completely unattached to that. And these, it's interesting that many of our great spiritual acharyas, spiritual masters in our line, they're actually incarnations of these girls, these gopis, such as Rupa Goswami and Raghunath Das Goswami. They're actually, in their original nature, they're actually young girls of Vṛndāvana. But when they are here in this world as sannyasis, swamis, they don't dress up like young girls and like that. Then they're completely indifferent. They just live with a loincloth and don't care about their external appearance at all. They're completely detached. Whatever they do, simply what pleases Krishna and have no other consideration. And they will even break moral principles or anything if that is what pleases Krishna. And so that cannot be imitated. We can follow, we're always told, follow in the footsteps, develop selflessness, and simply live for giving Krishna happiness. This is what it's all about. Anything else is just another phase of sense gratification. Even if one is imitating, seemingly, or trying to indulge in some of these very esoteric and advanced descriptions of what goes on in Vṛndāvana, even that can also easily be sense gratification. There was one instance, it was back in the 70s when Śrīla Prabhupāda was active, and when the Caitanya-caritāmṛta was published, and Caitanya-caritāmṛta has many actually very confidential discussions about Radha, Krishna, and life in Vṛndāvana. So a group of devotees got the idea, said, this is really nectar, this is really fantastic. So they started having evening meetings and they would specially pick out those passages and discuss them and relish them, and was also telling other devotees, you come here, or no, or you could not come here, this is only for those who are very advanced. When Prabhupada, he learned about that, descriptions are amazing. He got so angry he couldn't really control himself. It's described that he was when the news were brought to him and the devotees talking to him. He was actually had taken a bath. He was just in his gamsha and he was about to make tilak for putting on. And he was so furious and disturbed that he was making tilak for 10 minutes and he couldn't, because he got so angry. and say, who are they? Who do they think they are? This is not. Why do they pick out that topic for special study? Without I'm not authorized that they should make it. You can read it. It's there for reading, but it's not for deep studies. Prabhupada said, Lord Chaitanya told that my spiritual master considered me a great fool. Why don't you study that and understand that? What that means. So, so there's the point is to understand what the essence is, not just to imitate or like that. The essence is only everything for Krishna's happiness. We have to understand our level. What is it that we are supposed to do that gives Krishna exclusive happiness and there's nothing for ourselves? That's a whole, this is what it means, love of Godhead. And that is what we should take to us from, discussing or celebrating Rādhāṣṭamī and so on. Hare Krishna. I tried to say something, I don't know if it's proper. We have 2 minutes, I think. Someone has something to add or question or something quick. Mil.
Also thinking that it's a long process for us. We're very conditioned in this world. We're conditioned to this long lust. This is why we're here.
Yeah.
So there's also the purification process that can bring us to this stage, which is the Hare Krishna Mahārāja.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something that we do artificially. It's something that there's a process that we can work on.
Yeah.
Merciful we have been given this.
Yeah. And even if you do it artificially, that doesn't matter. We do it. Sravanadi Sutta Chitta Koryodai, we engage in chanting and hearing. Chanting Hare Krishna, discussing Krishna Katha, engaging in service to Krishna, in associating with devotees, and so on. And it's a long process. It can take lifetimes. It can take this whole life. But of course, the encouraging thing is that even though it might, one might be discouraged, such a long time, even lifetimes. But the point is, even just engaging in the process of purification, devotional service, is very pleasurable. It's actually very pleasurable because Krishna is pleased. He sees here is some conditioned soul trying his best to please me, and that makes Krishna very happy. And then we are happy because Krishna is happy. So even that, in one sense, is pure. But we can see I'm not pure, but I'm trying to get purified. So it is a pure attempt. And if one sticks to that, also, for sure, we'll get to the pure level by Krishna's mercy. We cannot do it it's not by our own endeavor, but we endeavor in a way so Krishna is pleased to bestow his mercy upon us. Or as Bhakti Saraswati would used to say, very simply, don't try to see God, but you act in such a way that God wants to see you. This is actually in a nutshell, also our process. There's no space for, it doesn't help us to try to be something we are not, or try to make a big pretension of being something advanced that we are not. Who can we cheat? We can maybe cheat others. And you can even cheat ourselves, but cheat Krishna? No. And it is Krishna we want to please. Actually, we don't care about what others they think. That we shouldn't worry about that. We should worry about what does Krishna think. And we cannot cheat him. So therefore, simply act in a way that pleases Krishna, and not try to be something or pretend to be something that we are not. And be happy. Krishna said, that was Prabhupada's instruction. Chant Hare Krishna and be happy. So it's an order, but I'm not happy. But Krishna's order, you should be happy. So you cannot go against Krishna's order. So it's all very encouraging, the whole thing. And but they're very high levels also. Go on, say.
I just wanted to hear, what was that last verse that you quoted with this very nice purport? Where was that from?
Which verse?
The last one that you were
On the screen?
reading on the screen.
465. Oh yeah, Adi Lila, chapter 4. So 164 it says, yeah, maybe. Or you can, you have the book. So it's 164. It tells that states that lust and love is as different as gold and iron. And then next verse with Prabhupada's fantastic purport is like that. It says, the desire to gratify one's own senses is karma or lust, but the desire to please the senses of Lord Krishna is prema. Jai. Srimati Radharani ki, Lord Krishna ki, Śrīla Prabhupāda ki. Go Premanande.